I vow never to take my freedom for granted. I am Wendy. Welcome to Self Directed. I believe that as a woman, if you're fortunate enough to live in a country where you're not persecuted simply for existing as yourself, where your gender does not automatically make your voice a crime, your choice a rebellion, or your freedom a threat, then you owe it to yourself to live as boldly as you have ever imagined. Be expressive, be curious, be ambitious, take up space, speak your mind, create, travel, learn, love what you love, change your mind if you want to. But most importantly, build a life that actually feels like yours. Because there was a time when women couldn't. There are women who fought for the right to vote, to own properties, to receive an education, to work, to choose their own futures, to walk into rooms where their presence was not considered inappropriate. Some were ridiculed, some were imprisoned, some were beaten, some lost their lives simply for believing that women deserved a say in the shape of their own existence. And even now, there are women in different parts of the world who are still fighting for rights that others take for granted. So when you have freedom, don't waste it by constantly shrinking yourself. Yes, I know, and I understand that freedom can feel unfamiliar to some women. When you have been taught that a woman must be contained, that some certain choices are shameful, that a woman who speaks too freely is disrespectful, or that a woman who lives differently is somehow threatening the order of things, I understand how another woman's freedom can begin to feel confronting. And sometimes we mistake what is unfamiliar for what is wrong. But you don't have to live like another woman to respect her rights to live differently. You can choose modesty without condemning the woman who chooses otherwise. You can choose marriage without believing that every woman must marry. You can choose motherhood without believing that every woman must become a mother. You can choose a quiet life without resenting the woman who wants an expansive one. You can have all your boundaries without turning them into rules for another woman's existence because your freedom doesn't become more meaningful by taking someone else's away. So please don't make it a habit of limiting, shaming, and tearing down women simply because they're exercising freedoms that you were never taught to recognize. There are women who fought and died so that you could have choices. And there are women who fought and died so that you could have them too. The point of freedom was never that we would all make the same choices. The point was that we'll finally get to make them. You don't have to become extraordinary simply because other women suffered before you. But you remember that your ordinary freedom may have once been someone's impossible dream. In some part of the world today, it still is. The education you pursue, the career you build, the clothes you choose to wear, the places you decide to go to, the opinions you're allowed to voice, the boundaries you're allowed to set, the life you're allowed to design for yourself. None of these freedoms exist in isolation. They were protected, expanded, and defended by generations of people who refused to accept that being born a woman should mean living a smaller life. So live. Live loudly if you want to, live quietly if you need to, live femininely, masculinely, softly, fiercely, traditionally, unconventionally, or in whatever way that feel honest to you. You do not owe the world a performance of womanhood. You owe yourself an honest life. And perhaps one of the most powerful ways to honor the women who fought before us is not only to remember their names, but to use the freedom they helped create. To walk through a world they were told they did not belong in and belong anyway. To speak where they were silenced. To become what they were told they could not become. And most importantly, to leave room for other women to make choices different from ours without making them feel smaller for it. Because freedom is not freedom if it only belongs to women who live the way we approve of. Our hope should be for the next generation to inherit more freedom than we did. And that can only happen if we aren't afraid to use ours and we understand that freedom grows when we stop asking women to be smaller in order to make everyone else comfortable. This is self directed. Be curious, be thoughtful, be willing to question, and most importantly, be yourself.